welcome everybody back to our Customer Growth Podcast. If you haven't heard me before, I'm Tash, I'm VP of Customer Growth at Hook. And today I'm interviewing Mary and Nate, who are representing the wonderful ZoomInfo Customer Experience team, winners of the Team of the Year at the Customer Growth Awards in the US. Welcome both. Massive congratulations to the two of you and to the full team. Tell us a little bit more about you. Let us get to know you a little bit more. Who are you? Tell us about your roles and the team that won.
Sure. As Natasha said, my name is Mary Iapicca, and I help lead the customer experience team at ZoomInfo. I'm specifically responsible for onboarding, implementation, our customer education, professional services, so a good deal of that post-sale customer journey. We really focus on helping companies operationalize their go-to-market strategy and get real value out of their technology. And then we build those customer experiences that really drive value and revenue for them. I've spent a lot of my career scaling CX teams, building digital experiences, and just designing programs that really help in the onboarding and success motion, specifically in B2B SaaS companies. Huge believer that the CX, customer experience doesn't just start after the sale. A lot of it is in the pre-sale. It's about how we retain our customers and expand them every single day. So I'm excited to be here and dig into how our customer experience and go-to-market strategy all come together. Throw it over to Nate.
Nice. Thank you, Nate.
So I'm Nate Alcorn. I lead the CX operations team here at ZoomInfo, rolling up to Mary and supporting our senior leadership within CX. Essentially, my team builds the infrastructure behind how our customer experience programs work here at ZoomInfo, and all the various teams that we have rolling up to CX, which I think is one of the things that makes us special, is there's so many different distinguished teams working towards that same goal on the post-sale side. Some of this work includes like the onboarding flows, our onboarding health scoring, our digital programs, automations and processes, and preserving our post-sale data too. And basically how we're able to get 1,500 customers onboarded a month and building that.
Whoa, that's crazy. 1,500 a month. Okay, we want to hear more about that, and I have so many questions, even just based on what you've both given me. But maybe let's just start with, give the listeners a peek behind the scenes. What was it that you talked to the judges about in terms of how you all are operating as a team that you think might have stood out and contributed to you all winning the award?
Yeah, that's a good place to start for sure. And I'm going to start a little even further back. When I started here at ZoomInfo as the director of onboarding, the onboarding team had been kind of created, Nate, 9 months before I had started. Nate was on the original onboarding team and kind of was there at the inception of that team. And there was a point in ZoomInfo's maturity where they knew the volume was coming, and you can go into any blog that you want about onboarding and how it contributes to customer retention and success in those first 30, 60, 90 days being really vital to the true success of the customer and the longevity of their experience. Yeah. And I think ZoomInfo knew that, and this team was created. But the nod to the volume that's there, right? Like 1,500 a month. We actually run onboarding for 90 days because we want to make sure that you have full support for like a really good amount of time to be successful. We made the decision to expand it to 90 days. That means we have roughly 5,000 customers in the onboarding phase at any given time. Wow. We have over 35,000 customers at ZoomInfo. And so you can, it's a smaller portion of our entire customer base, but it's not just new business customers, it's customers that have expanded. So you upsell and buy another product and you're coming back into your onboarding phase. You upsell on a certain number of seats and we pull you back into the onboarding phase to get you that education. And so certainly I think our volume is one of the things that gets everybody to kind of open their eyes and be like, oh my goodness, there's certainly other organizations that have that volume too. But as a part of our submission, it was the journey to growth and then differentiating the models. We have a digital program, we have had a low touch, we have a mid touch, we have high, and we have custom. And I think a lot of people think that, if you're not paying a lot, that means you're getting a lesser experience, so you get digital. But that's not actually how we assign them. It's more of a complexity scoring model. Sure, our people who are paying less maybe are less complex, and so some of that applies. But it's building those different experiences, really trying to personalize that experience with customers, and how we did that while also, handling the volume that we have. And I think to Nate's point, like the different teams that we have, really knowing what their role is across the organization and leaning in. We didn't have an operations team, but when we came in, we knew that we needed that to scale. We have every function that we need, and we've organically built those functions, not because we had the headcount, but because we knew we needed those roles, and that's how we were going to scale. The number of onboarding managers or learning and development managers may have shrunk, but to get roles that helped us scale. So, Nate's team is a huge lever for us to be able to scale that. But I think in terms of the submission, it was the volume, the operationalization of the programs, and just truly listening to the customer and what they want. Like we're very customer centric. I feel like the decisions we make are data driven, but customer supported. So I think that's a big piece of it. Anything else, Nate, that you would lean into?
Yeah, I think I'd want to say like our ability to scale and to meet our volume without losing our humanity or our obsession to be customer first. I think we've got an amazing blueprint in CX that helps us service customers all the way from the micro SMB to our top logos in a consistent way that meets the needs of those customers.
Yeah. I also just add, Natasha, like the submission process and like the interview process, I think you can read the passion that we have for the customers off of the page and in the conversation, but it's easy for us to have that passion because our team is really amazing. Like they care about the customers. Like we're here talking about it, but like I get my passion from the things that they do every day, from listening to the chorus calls and like hearing somebody light up because one of our learning and development managers gave them a new way to think about something, or an onboarding manager made the process of adopting a new technology easier. Like that just comes through our voices because of what they bring to the table every single day. There's 250 people on our team that do that every single day, and it's pretty awesome.
I want to talk in a little bit about the culture and how you fostered that, but I think we should talk through some of the how first behind what you've said. So you talked about this like operationalizing the programs and how you scale without losing the humanity. I think that's a really nice phrase, and this is something that so many teams are trying really hard to do, and some are succeeding, but some are struggling along the way. You mentioned a couple of things in here: low, mid, high custom touch, having this complexity scoring model, and obviously an experience that maps to each. What more can you share around how you've operationalized it and how you've managed this scale, but without losing that human touch?
Such a good question. I mean, I think you have to start small, right? Like, which is really hard when you have the volume that we have. I think we started with everybody kind of had this high touch model. What are the things that you can pull back and deliver in a different methodology, right? Like we didn't take the actual milestone away. If you look at all of our models, everybody gets a kickoff call. You get a technical implementation. You get a training. You get, we call it an OMR, onboarding milestone review, where we kind of tactically see what did you finish in the first 30 days. You have an adoption milestone review. You have your handoff. Like those are fairly consistent milestones across most onboarding teams, and certainly across ours. It's just tweaking pieces of it, like the delivery mechanism, right? So like if everything's done in a one-to-one fashion, what can you change that can be webinar and still be effective? What can you change that can be an email? Like our OMRs are check-ins for all intents and purposes, but like, can you change that one to an email? How can you use AI to tell you like, this should be a phone call instead of an email because this is the way this person works best. I don't know about you, but like, I don't learn from webinars really well. How can you in your kickoff call understand how that person interacts best and engages best, and then make sure you're kind of tinkering along the way of your journey? I think that's like going forward, what we're really trying to do with AI is to say, tell me about the personality of this person, how they learn, how they prefer to engage, so then we can change our models that way going forward. The first step, though, to operationalize it was to just change that by model, not by personalities, right? So that's a little bit looking back, a little bit looking forward.
Nice.
But also, like, a big part of how I think about our programs and our people. So like, this is jumping ahead to culture maybe a little bit, but I subscribe to structured autonomy, right? Like, we are giving you a structure as an onboarding manager, as a learning development manager, to know what are you supposed to deliver on, right? Those expectations, but you have the autonomy to move in and out of that. And my expectation is that you as a professional know when, if I said this is supposed to be an email, you can say, I should actually pick up the phone and have a 15-minute call, right? Like, you have the autonomy to move in and out of that structure based off of what's best for the customer. And so driving some of that culture and giving some of that freedom, I think, led to people adhering to a little bit of that structure in the beginning part of our operationalization of that. Wow, that was a hard word. Does that make sense? Trying to like go with that. Like, by saying you can be autonomous and make these decisions, they knew when to stick to the process versus not, and it allowed us to really scale across the board.
Nice. And then Nate, how are you, from your and your team's perspective, how are you measuring and iterating on this? It sounds like you've got models and you've got journeys that map to it, and I love the way that you've mapped that out, Mary. How do you figure out where things are going well, where they're not? How do you define success off the back of this?
Really good habits with reading our data and going back and looking at how we performed. That blueprint that Mary's talking about gave us this solid foundation, which actually really helped us build processes for each of these engagement models, which gave us great consistent data. And as we grew out, and over the last 2.5 years, we've been in a version, or the closest version of what we are today. After these cohorts go through every 90 days, we can see where the gaps are in our customers and are able to make like really data-driven decisions on where to enhance, what type of experience makes sense for what type of customers, especially because our product's evolving constantly and growing. I think one great example is 2.5 years ago, we launched a low-touch engagement model with the goal of like, we want to give every customer, despite their size, an onboarding manager. And what we learned in 1.5 to 2 years of that engagement model is that persona at scale didn't want that. And we were actually, our data was showing us we were doing a customer a disservice by feeding them through an onboarding manager and putting them as a managed account, when those smaller, more rapid SMB accounts want the autonomous self-serve experience. So we made a hard pivot there based off of product and adoption data, based off of onboarding data, and based off of industry trends, that we can build a program to customers. And then we're about 2 months into that as a specific example.
Amazing. I want to bring it back to the culture a little bit. Both of you have mentioned in your own words this sense of everybody's on the same team, everyone's driving towards the same mission, everyone's really passionate about the customer. How do you like create and then foster that kind of drive, that kind of customer care across the like size of team that you have?
I think we have, there's so many different things that we could say here. Like, we hire right? Like, I came in and the profile we were hiring were people who were educators. Like, if you're in a classroom and you're educating students, adults, all the way down to like the little 4-year-olds, you clearly have a need to care for other people. And so like, part of it was our hiring, right? Like, that was what we were doing, what we wanted. We wanted educators, right? Like, the point of onboarding is to educate people. They're learning something that they've never learned before, making people feel comfortable, making sure they know what's coming next, making sure that you're there to answer questions. So I think that profile certainly was helpful in what we were looking for, and that like just desire to care for the customer. I think our profile has changed over time as we've hired people as well, because our customers are moving more up market. And so they want to really have somebody who can share best practices and go to market, right, in our industry, if you will. And so we've added a little bit of that into our profile as well, but certainly that thoughtful educational background of wanting to help people is something that we look for in our hiring. I think we know that frontline roles are really difficult, and sometimes it's okay to be okay at your job, right? Like, show up as you are as a human. And I think accepting that everyone's not going to have the best day every single day, but we're there to support you, and that you can be human in this, and have systems in place to say, like, I really can't do this call right now. We're able to, we have systems where you can, if you're sick, you just let us know. If you're not feeling well, you let us know, and we can get somebody else in there. Nate's done a really great job at looking at the capacity for each of these models, right? As much as these different models for engagement are for the customer experience, they're for the employee experience. When I came in, it wasn't out of the ordinary for someone to be working with 250 customers at a time. Our mid-touch model, like, we aim for 70 to 90. It can get a little bit higher, but like, reducing the number of customers that they're working with is like a big sigh of relief. You don't have to be a machine, right? Like, you don't have to do kickoff call, and then spend 3 hours remembering what you said on that first call to get that follow-up right. You can really dig in and dive in a little bit. So I think alleviating some of that, being thoughtful about the capacity of the team so that they can do things that they're passionate about. Nice. Frontline's difficult. Finding opportunities that people can do projects that they're passionate about. We have something called the CX Impact Engine, where we have different levels and types of projects where managers lead the projects and team leads participate, and then team leads get to lead projects and ICs participate, and then ICs have their own projects that they lead. So just understanding that they can impact the business in different ways and be leaders in their own way, I think has been really helpful.
Something big picture that sticks with me a lot is like, our CEO really challenges us to never say, like, that's not my job, or say no to things. And in CX, I think we're leaders internally in our business because we really embrace that, and that culture trickles down. Like, new challenges, AI coming in, our product evolving, like, those are all things that we jump in and take head on, and end up being leaders for larger initiatives across the business because of that, in places that maybe CX orgs and other businesses wouldn't. And we built some great partnerships and internally as well.
Amazing. Yeah, really cool. Well, last question from me. What's next for the team? It sounds like you've been really successful. It sounds like you've hit some big milestones. What are you all working towards? What are you all focused on? What's next?
Yeah, I mean, Nate will tell you all about our digital program. I think a lot of it is expanding the digital program. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think actually this is a part of growing as well. Like, I say, digital is not a dirty word. I don't have a lot of time in my day to learn a new technology, but if you give me the right tools when I have the time to do it, like, I'm going to be more successful. I think the attitude of self-service not being a bad experience is everything you need to make sure that your executive leadership is leaning into, right? Like, our CEO, our executive team, they think it's great that we're scaling. They think it's great that we're doing more for the customer in a digital way. And so I think a lot of our next steps are expanding that. And then for each of the models, improving, right? There's different things for each model that we need to kind of, turn it up a notch. For our mid-touch, high-touch customers, really getting a customer-facing project plan that they can follow along with. And if they want to jump ahead, they can do that. That's a huge piece. In our custom space, getting even more involved in the pre-sales process so that we can start building out the different work streams. We're seeing customers come in and they have a short-term project that they just need to, like, turn it on right away. And then they have like 3 other work streams for longer term projects. And so really being able to, in the pre-sales process, say, what do we need to do in like a month? What do we need to do in like 3 months? And start that mapping even before kind of their signing, so that they know that we're right there lockstep with them. And then just expanding like digital into even the post onboarding journey. We really want to push this past the 90-day period to support continued adoption as well, and work with our customer success partners. So again, a little rambling there, but like every model has something a little bit different. And then in terms of like customer education, I really think customer education is a huge unlock for self-service. We just had a recap yesterday of like, what does 2026 look like in customer education in the world of AI, in the world of like a 20-second video gets your attention, and then you flip to your next thing that you're looking at.
Right. Yeah.
So how do we do that in customer education? What does that look like in 2026 is a big focus for December as well, because that's just going to make our digital programs even better.
And the last thing, like high level, that I'd add on to that too is, and it's trendy to say, but we're looking at this in a lot of different ways. Like, how else can we support revenue? We don't just want to be a cost center, but how can we attribute the things that we do every day for customers or have always done to how it's making an impact on renewal? Mary mentioned the pre-sales process, thinking about our professional services and our offerings at the time of a sale as well. Like, we don't just want to be that cost sink. We want to be contributing to the business from the customer satisfaction, but also the revenue standpoint.
Amazing. And I think, by the way, that is an incredible mindset to have as a post-sales team, certainly in the market out there right now. Nate, Mary, you've been a joy, like such an interesting conversation. Thank you so much for sharing with everybody. We really appreciate it. Appreciate the time, and massive congrats to the two of you and to the full team.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us and for hosting the awards and making sure that CX in general and customer success is just amplified within businesses and across B2B. Appreciate you.
Thank you.